and come check y'all out.
Well, we're here. One of my favorite places. Conversation with one of the greats and what this all said. I'm Shane Raines. I'll talk with him.
So, fall transit.
Ticket. Hopefully this goes on a replica out of that 20.
Come to your live coverage.
At 8 pounds with the current right up there.
See how it shakes out? That's it.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Dog Talk West Virginia. I'm your host, Shane Raines, and in this weekend's episode, exciting episode. I hope you saw the post a little bit earlier today talking about we have a couple guests coming on here a little bit later, joining us via video chat, and that will be your first ever winners of the Dog Talk West Virginia Open from their last weekend on Stonewall, and that is Wil Dieffenbauch and Ryan Radcliff. So we will get to that, cover some news and some tournament updates, and dive into the Marshall CPR Super Open that's supposed to be going on this next Saturday, the 23rd, right here on the Canal River. So I hope everyone's got out there and enjoyed some time on the water this weekend. Absolutely beautiful weekend. Finally back in to some lot better weather. 80 high 80s. That means one thing: those fish are they got their sights set on moving shallow. The ones that kind of pulled off during that cold front, they'll be moving back up. So extremely exciting time going on right now on the water. There were quite a few tournaments going on over this last weekend. As you know, the new policies in place by the DNR are allowing tournaments. I know we covered that in the past video. You can always go back and check that out. So tournaments are allowed as long as everyone's following the proper policies in place with social distancing guidelines, nothing over 25 boats at a single ramp, and just obeying all of those other policies. So very, very exciting to be able to finally, folks, get back on the water, be able to weigh some fish and follow some of these new policies, all of them, so we can continue to tournament fish throughout the rest of this COVID madness. So, to everyone joining us, thank you for joining us. If you don't know, you can follow along, obviously, right here on Facebook at Dog Talk West Virginia, and you can find us on YouTube. Try to cross-post all of these live videos over to YouTube. So for the ones that do not have a Facebook account, you can hop right on YouTube, search it, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to be notified when a new video drops. But before we get too far into the Marshall update for the Super Open, the new CPR Super Open, which is a fundraiser event, before we get into that, as most of you know, the information has been kind of passed around, and we have suddenly lost by far probably one of the biggest pioneers for bass fishing, tournament bass fishing in and around West Virginia. Extremely tough news to hear of Mr. Bob Burgess's passing. Mr. Trail of Dreams. I tell you, he is legacy will live on forever for the amount of work that he has done for the tournament community. I'm 34 years old, haven't been in the tournament community for a real long time compared to a lot of these other anglers. Being able, I received a ton of phone calls and talked to a lot of folks since the news, and I tell you, the impact that you start to really get a grasp on that he has left on a lot of people's lives in and around West Virginia and all across the tournament communities is something that none of us will be able to forget. It was less than 2 months ago, had Bob and Corey over for an interview, just so excited about the 2020 Trail of Dreams season. We end up talking for a couple hours after our live stream to be able to get to know Bob a little bit better. I know I don't know him even a portion as well as a lot of the other folks. I know I've seen a lot of comments, known him 30, 40, 50 years, fishing his tournaments for 30 plus years. Started Wednesday night tournaments, weekday tournaments out of Dunbar underneath the bridge at the old ramp. Got to hear these stories from a lot of folks, and his passion for the sport truly will live on forever. He will be greatly missed, and I know I definitely appreciate the time just a little bit of time I was able to spend with him. So thoughts and prayers with all of the Burgess friends, all the family, all the friends that have gotten to know Bob over the years. So our thoughts and prayers are with you all. Definitely a big loss in the fishing world. So just think about them in this tough time. But we will talk about now the Marshall Super Open. Before I do get into that, let me rewind just a little bit. First and foremost, I am not the DNR. I'm not a DNR officer. None of the above. What I take pride in my duty is to be able to bring you as much factual information that I possibly can, recognize the anglers, the youth, help grow our sport of competitive fishing, bass fishing in and around West Virginia. So don't take this the wrong way, but we all see and we all follow all these different trails and tournaments going on. There were some folks that absolutely, everyone's wearing their mask and following the guidelines, as the governor says, but I did see some pictures, and like I said, I'm not the police. I'm just saying that these images are out there, pictures of tournaments going on, people within close distances of each other, no mask. Just do the right thing. I wasn't there, not calling anybody out. Wasn't there, so I don't know exactly the circumstances, but let's do our best to follow all the policies in place so we can continue to tournament fish, make changes, adapt to what we're kind of being dealt right now. But tight lines, stay out there, do the right thing, and have a great time until they finally release us, hopefully here in just a few more weeks, to kind of get back to what we're used to, unrestricted tournament. So as far as me, made a trip to St. Mary's today. On the way up, got to stop and meet up with Ryan and drop off the rods from Ridge Runner Rods that they won the last tournament. So excited to finally get those delivered to them. And like I said, we'll be bringing them on here shortly. But made it up to St. Mary's. Did kind of some scouting for the Bass Festival. I'm hoping to be able to bring you a lot of awesome coverage from that event. Amazing event. One of the longest running single running tournaments, open tournaments in the nation, from what I've been told. 30 plus years. Amazing tournament. 150 some boats, 125 boats, you name it. Hundreds of anglers show up. Big payouts. I think last year it was like 15 grand. So a lot coming up for more information on that. But let's not waste too much time. We don't want to drag us out. We got an awesome interview with Ryan Radcliff and Wil Dieffenbauch coming up very shortly. So just be patient. They are on the line waiting. So let me just give you just a quick little outline of the Marshall CPR Super Open. That's this coming up Saturday, May 23rd, on the Canal River. Okay, you can use 3 ramps, one of 3 ramps, and that's Frontier Ramp. I dropped a GPS link if you don't know where that is in downtown Charleston. St. Albans boat ramp right here in St. Albans. The link's there as well. And the new Winfield boat ramp. This actually kind of spaces everybody out on opposite ends of that Winfield pool. You can lock through. There have been multiple people already sign up. If you are interested in this event, we do have some rain. I'll be watching and the gauges on all the rivers, what's feeding into the canal, so we can stay up to date and keep everybody updated. As far as I know, down in Virginia, they got crushed with a lot of water. So we're gonna keep an eye on that. But as of right now, it's a go. I was out on the river there yesterday for about 3 or 4 hours. It was just really nice just getting out there and just kind of clear your mind a little bit. And the fish were biting pretty good. Got a late start, but caught a few. So I'm thinking next weekend's going to really shape up. Water temps right around 60. Backwater's a little warmer, so potential to be some really big bags caught. So new for this tournament compared to last time, live well and hog trough checks will be going on morning of, starting at 5:45 a.m. at each ramp. There will be someone there representing Marshall at a couple of them. I'm volunteering to be at least one of them if need be. When you pull up, live well lids open, be ready to dump in the water. You stay in your vehicle, live well lids open. Hog trough, go ahead and lay it out on the deck of the boat. We're just going to inspect that. Both of those, make sure that this will be the most fair possible way to run a CPR tournament. All the other rules are pretty similar, if not the same. You can get on Tourney X, look back at the link. I'll make sure to drop it in the comments of this live video so you can actually read all these for yourself. That I highly recommend. Don't want you get yourself in a bind by not knowing the rules. But 7 to 3, you can enter the water starting at 6. First cast is at 7. Fish have to be caught and picture taken by 3, time stamped obviously, and you have until 4 to upload your fish, just like last tournament. A few different things. $100 entry. This is to help fund the Marshall University Bass Club, bass fishing team. So 20% after PayPal fees and Tourney X fees. Didn't realize there were PayPal fees last time. So I kind of had to throw a little bit extra in there, but it's okay. At least we know now. It's ran the same way, 2 anglers per boat, singles welcome, and it's open to bass boats, john boats, and kayaks. Everyone asks for it. Hey, if I'm fishing as a single, can I fish in a kayak? Last tournament, it wasn't allowed. This tournament, come on out. The Marshall boys love the idea. Come on out. You will be fishing as a single, but there's an opportunity to compete. Everybody compete against each other. An awesome, exciting opportunity to kind of see how this shakes out. So also, just a quick reminder, like I said, we are talking about the Marshall University CPR Super Open. Right here's the date and time. And also, if you need a hog trough, remember, Elevation Sports in Beckley will ship these to you. I got mine in about 2 days. And also, right here, when you go to checkout, right there where the arrow's pointing, that's a discount code. And you type in Dalk Talk, all one word, capital letters, hit apply. You'll see the free shipping pop up. So if you need a hog trough, get on there, order it. Andrew and crew, Andrew Hitchcock and the whole crew up there will take extra special care of you, and we appreciate your all support. So like I said, $100 entry, get your hog trough. Identifier code the same way. That will be released 9 o'clock the night before. Pre-fishing, you got to be off the water by 9 o'clock the night before. We'll release that 3-digit identifier code. Got to be in the picture. You know the rules. If you don't, reach out to me. I can freshen you up on everything. Like I said, eligibility is open to bass boats, john boats, kayaks, 12-inch minimum, 5 fish, and hog trough is the only approved measuring board. And I think, let me just give you just a quick little breakdown. Like I said, Tourney X, $5 per entry. So per team, per entry, $5 comes out. That's paid to Tourney X to run that software. The PayPal fees is actually, I'll just tell you, 2.9% plus 30 cents. Why it's like that, I don't know. But that works out to be $3.20. That's just to process the payment over the through PayPal like that. So basically, 20% after that off of what's left, that is going to Marshall. They will get $18.36 per entry. So come out. They could use all the involvement as possible for this tournament. These funds raised help fund their club so they can go compete all over the nation. And with all their trail tournaments canceled up to this point, they have missed out on some fundraising funds there. So come out, great calls, and support the club. But that'll leave about, I think, $68.44 per entry, straight to the pot. Give you an idea. If we can get the amount of boats we did last time at 20 to 29 boats, pay out 4 places, obviously. And for example, at that, first place at, I believe this is at 29 boats, but first place would take home $992.38. Huge payday, $595.43 for second, $297.71 for third, and just under $100 for fourth. And of course, big bass, $5 out of every entry goes to big bass. So awesome, awesome opportunity to come out and support the club. Let's throw this up here. Jason Turner just missed that comment. He said, "Let's give out 6 custom cranks, 2 each place." Top 3 places. Hey, if you don't remember last tournament, Jason Turner stepped up with JT's Custom Jigs and donated some bait packages for him. Jason, that's awesome, brother. Awesome. So that's great news. There's Derek Masali. He commented too. Same deal. He ordered straight from Elevation. He got that in just a couple days. So they do a wonderful job taking care of us. And like I said, we appreciate their support. All right, so the main exciting thing going on for this episode, like I said, we have an interview with Wil Dieffenbauch and Ryan Radcliff, your winners of the first ever Dock Talk West Virginia Open on Stonewall last weekend. Before we jump into that live interview, want to just take a quick little break and thank one of our sponsors of this live stream tonight, and that is Mr. Ridge Runner Rods, Dwight Walls, right there in Scott Depot, West Virginia. Reach out to him. Here's a quick little video, and these are the rods that I did drop off to Ryan Radcliff for him and Will on their win part of their package. So, and actually, there's some information that I got earlier that there could be another couple rods to give out this tournament as well. Thank you for all your support, Dwight, with Ridge Runner Rods. Reach out to him, 552-7750. All right. Again, thank you. Reach out to him if you need any work. Also, one quick little shout out before I get going to the interview. And that I want to wish I'm a day late for the live stream, though, but yesterday, May 16th, was my brother's birthday. Bub, happy birthday. I love you. Had a great time hanging out with you last night celebrating. We had us a big old meal of some country-style ribs, so it's always wonderful to be able to hang out with the family. But happy birthday, Bub. Love you. But all right. So without further ado, like I said, exciting interview tonight. And we won't drag us out any longer. And introducing your first ever winners of the Dock Talk West Virginia Open on Stonewall Jackson Lake. And that is Mr. Wil Dieffenbauch and Ryan Radcliff. What's going on, guys? How are you all today?
Oh, not too bad. Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
good,
yeah,
man.
for sure.
Appreciate you setting this up, man. You do a great job.
Hey, I appreciate that, man. I really do, and appreciate you all coming on. So I'm excited. Let me got you. Will's got Will kind of froze here, so let's reset this. See if we can't get him back up here. But so, like I said, Ryan Radcliff and Wil Dieffenbauch. Like I said, guys, thanks for joining me. Congratulations on the first ever win, too, for the Dock Talk West Virginia Open. Dude, that was a crazy cold tournament, as you both know. Starting out the day was pretty nasty, but to be able to go out and compete finally, how's it feel?
Feel pretty good. I think everybody's been itching to get out. I don't know if we were all ready for snow and 26-degree weather, but wasn't too bad.
Yeah. I think everybody that was out there could definitely relate to that. But before we get going too far in the interview, give y'all both an opportunity to kind of introduce yourself. We've already got your names up there. We kind of know who you are, but for the folks that don't know who you are, give us just a quick little backstory, how you got started fishing, where you're from, and when tournament fishing started. Ryan, I'll let you go and start, brother.
All right. Yeah. So I was born and raised Parkersburg, West Virginia. I ended up going to college at Fairmont State, and then decided to move back home. Had a great childhood in Parkersburg. Grew up hunting and fishing with my dad. We had a little aluminum boat since I was a little kid. Always going out. Didn't really get into tournament bass fishing until high school. I started entering some of the night tournaments here on the Ohio River. Never did any good, but started getting into it a little bit, and then went to Fairmont State, and actually went there to swim in college. And in the springtime, swimming pretty much wrapped up in February, March. So I had the rest of the spring semester to get into some other things. Of course, I had a rod and stuff up there at Fairmont, and I heard about this fishing club, this fishing team that was at Fairmont State, and of course, I'm all in for that. So I kind of inquired about it and showed up to a meeting. Will was the president of the team. I think he even started the team, which he can get into that. But so I really got into tournament fishing, like serious hardcore, in college. There was a great group of guys at Fairmont State, and they, we loved talking, sitting around, talking fishing, going fishing. So I learned pretty much everything I know from Will and from fishing at Fairmont. And then Will and I, we ended up fishing together there his last year, and we created a friendship, and we worked well as a team, and did great together, and it just kind of carried on from college to now. We still fish together all the time. We're talking to each other every single night, it seems like, on Facebook, talking strategies, talking different techniques. We've got a good connection and good teamwork atmosphere between the both of us. We don't always fish every tournament together, but whenever we can, we try to, and so I'm thankful for that, and thankful to met Will, honestly, because he kind of spiraled me into this whole sport, and it's an awesome sport, and I just and from college going on, I still enter tournaments around the state. I kind of stay around home, enter all the Ohio River stuff, and try to get around the state as much as I can. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
Awesome. Well, yeah, and I mean, and at least you got, I think back, and it's like, goodness, man, I never even dreamed or even heard of college fishing when I was just coming out of high school. It wasn't even really a thing yet. So to have that opportunity, and we'll kind of get to a few questions I've got for y'all kind of about that transition here coming up. So that's what I can only imagine what an awesome experience that was. Will, how about you, man? I know you've been quite successful over the years, working your way up from youth, casting for kids, Kids state championship. So give us just a little backdrop on a little bit about you. I know you've been fishing for a long time, so give us a little rundown.
Yeah, I've been fishing since I can remember, but I really got into the competition when I was a kid. I ended up getting into these casting kids competitions when that was a thing, and I ended up winning 4 of those state championships, and just kept moving on up from there. So I went to the juniors after that. I think I won 3 of those state championships and had a 4th in the world championship. And they didn't have high school fishing back then. I wish they did. But then I started the club at Fairmont. I had to pull teeth to get that started at Fairmont State University because they didn't really know what we were getting into. And then we ended up winning 3 events in that, including our regional championship. And Like I was a 2-time All-American, and Ryan was an All-American. And, we went to 3 national championships. Then once I graduated, I went on to the FLW series. Has been competing in that this is my 7th year, and I've made the national championship for that 6 years straight. So that's where I'm at now.
Yeah, man. I mean, I've kind of followed along, with your journey over the last couple of years, and I mean, to start at that age, I can only imagine. Confidence has to build at a young age, being kind of successful. Working your way truly up through the ranks. And I've always felt like that's really the best way. You learn probably, and at least in my experience, you learn a lot more as you just kind of take those proper steps as you move up to that next level.
Yeah, you learn a lot more, but it also feeds the addiction. So you just can't set it down.
Well, I tell you, that's I'll probably started tournament fishing personally, hardcore when you really start taking it serious, probably 6, 7, 8 years ago. And you're 100% right. You talking about fueling a fire that the wallet doesn't appreciate sometimes, but it sure keeps a passion lit, and I think we all can relate with that for sure. Well, man, let me that kind of take us into such a successful run up through the college ranks. You and Ryan, you fished together. Obviously, I think you all told me you had made 1 national championship together once he actually was there at Fairmont State. Give us a little bit of a background or your mentality or your thought process as far as we just kind of hit on it, as far as working your way up. You get through the college step, and here we are. We're right back into adult fishing. As we know, to take that next step up to, say, the professional level, it is a insane undertaking for especially money to be able to take that next step. You can, the BFLs are pretty low cost entries other than the travel there. But give us a little idea of what's the mind frame to transition from the college scene into the adult world, and really, I know you took it to the next step by fishing the FLW, basically kind of what replaced the Costas, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
But that's really that one step below where the pros are sitting. So what's that process like coming out of college and stepping into the adult tournament world?
Well, coming out of college, I was looking at my different options for the next level, and the BFLs for where I'm located, because I live in Morgantown now, and I grew up in Hundred, so it's sort of like northern part of West Virginia, central West Virginia.
Right.
And there just wasn't any BFL regions near me that would validate the travel to fish them, because it's a 1-day tournament and it's hard to compete against the locals in a 1-day event. So I decided I'd do 2 years as a co-angler on the FLW series, which I don't know if it might have been the Costas then or the Everstarts. They just keep changing sponsors. But
right.
I did 2 years as a co-angler, which is what I'd recommend guys coming out of high school and college doing, because you'll learn a lot just fishing from the back of the boat with these guys and how everything's run at that next level. But so I did that, and with the series, it guarantees you're fishing at least 2 days, so you can learn a little bit even in that, and it just gets you ready to see, hey, this is what I need to be doing against these guys and how other anglers fishing at that level approach these tournaments.
Yeah, absolutely. True building blocks to be successful as far as the starting point. You're really working your way up. The way I've always said that I think an angler, and that's a huge undertaking. So you go take that giant leap, and let's face it, $40K to get in the ring at minimum without travel. That gets to be crazy expensive.
Yeah. This sport isn't cheap.
But the good thing is we have a lot of options right here at home to be able to compete. So that is one of the most exciting, with 900 plus tournaments here in the state. Even if somebody doesn't want to take that next step up, that next level, there's still plenty of opportunities for us right here in West Virginia.
Absolutely.
Well, let me ask you something else here, Ryan. What are you thinking, brother? I know that to come out of the college and kind of start somewhat later than maybe some anglers, starting at the youth level and really working your way up, but kind of getting into the college scene. To come out now, what is stay home and hammer on those high river giants or what?
Yeah, I'll start off first. When Will and I fished in college, the college program when we were there was sweet. I mean, it was sweet. FLW, they put in a ton of money, and I think a lot of that was trying to build it up. They wanted to build up their college program. They wanted to build up college fishing. So the incentives, the payouts, they were great. In college, and they even paid for some of our travel. They gave us like travel stipends and stuff like that every once in a while. So when we were in it, we hit it at the right time. I mean, it was sweet. Now, from what I hear and what I see, it's a lot more challenging. There's not as much offered. However, the award of winning is still, it's very beneficial. So the competition is as strong as ever in college. But it was a little different when we were in there. So definitely when college was over and kind of got into the real world, obviously the expenses are there. And I like you said, I got a little bit of a late start. I didn't fish my, tournaments like Will did. And so I never really had the aspiration to really become a professional fisherman. However, from when I got out of college, I did the co-anglers there for a year with Will, and he's right. That's the most, and that's not just for high school and college kids. Anybody, if you go and fish as a co-angler for those FLW or BASS events, you will learn so much. I tell guys all the time, I'm like, hey, I'm fishing with some of the guys local, and I tell them, like, hey, if you really want to learn something, go sign up to be one of those co-anglers. And you're not signing up so much to win. I mean, yeah, you're going to compete and you're going to try and win, but you sign up and to learn. I mean, that's the bottom line. And you learn a bunch. Given, every single guy isn't, might have a bad day, or you might go out and not do very good at all, and I had several of those experiences. I'd go out one day and as a co-angler and, not be on fish and have a terrible day, and the next day go out and whack 20 pounds. So it's just kind of a crapshoot, but no matter what, you learn and you take away a lot from being those co-anglers. So I try to suggest to everybody, and it's affordable. It's a good way to go, and you learn bodies of water, you learn different techniques, styles. I mean, it's a really beneficial thing to do. So, and even if you just decide you want to fish, back in West Virginia, like I have, it's still a way to go out and learn and come back, and you might have a weapon that nobody else knows about around here, so it's.
Absolutely. And, I've always said that, really picked up fishing a buddy trail, first buddy trail I ever fished. Jumped in a boat with a guy I really didn't know, committed to the whole TBF side one year. We traveled all over fishing, and I learned right then, I think this was 2013 or 2014, I learned right then that this is the best way for an angler to learn, is to get in a boat with someone you've never fished with before, and you, not that we're out here trying to copy each other or steal spots, but you learn technique and you learn different ways to approach a day. So I 100% agree with you. The more time you can spend in the boat with other people, you really can take a lot more with you than if not. 100% agree. So. Let me ask you all this. There's y'all's background. And if you're just now joining us, you see him on the screen, Ryan Radcliff from Parkersburg, West Virginia, and Wil Dieffenbauch right there in Morgantown, West Virginia. They are your first ever Dog Talk West Virginia Open champions up on Stonewall. So we're just kind of going about to dive into everything CPR tournaments, and they're going to fill us in on how they made that happen up at Stonewall when a lot of teams were struggling. But if you are just joining, hit that like button, share it right down at the bottom of the comment section. Hit that share button, share it out to all your friends so we can make sure we get these guys the exposure they deserve for their big win, and also just to get this information out. Also, both of you, CPR Fishing Tournaments. Give me your experience with a catch, photo, release style tournament like you all participated in last weekend.
Well, I kind of liked it because it brought me back to a club tournament, like a club that I used to be in. I used to be in a TBF club in New Martinsville, and all of our club tournaments were a paper tournament, all by length rather than weight. So it kind of brought me back to that, where you're just, you're trying to catch long fish. You're not worried about weight. You don't have to put them in a live well. It's just you catch them, you measure them, you write it down, you let them go. They can go back to what they're doing, where they were. And it's really nice, especially in this past tournament where there were fish on beds. You can let them go. They go right back to the bed.
Oh, I 100% agree. I'm sure you've heard me talk about, especially last tournament, around this time, especially around the spawn. It's like, man, this is no better way to be able to protect these fish by kind of operating a tournament this way. Ryan, any prior experience? I know when I talked to you earlier today, you kind of jumped in a kayak and fish a little bit out of a kayak, and we kind of joked at how tough it can really be in a small boat like that. But, man, any prior experience other than that for like a CPR style catch photo release tournament?
So that was, that kayak tournament that I discussed, I jumped in earlier this year. That was the first time I'd ever used Tourney X, and used that system. Before that, I went to a couple tournaments on small lakes, 9-9 catch and release lakes, where they did like some video and picture, measuring. They bumped all the measuring boards before, and then you had to take a little video, and then everybody got back together at the ramp and kind of showed their video. But that was, a little different than using Tourney X, obviously. But no, this was definitely the first time out of a bass boat I've used Tourney X.
Well, I mean, out of a bass boat and doing a CPR style tournament, we all know you're pretty new. We know the kayak community. And not only them, but there are quite a few other clubs that do still operate on a paper style tournament. But to be able to use a software that can kind of track your GPS and it really levels the playing field and it eliminates some of those factors that you worry about with a paper tournament, being able to verify where someone is, everyone using the same measuring device, and of course all the other rules. But for both of you, and I'll let either one of you all kind of pick this up and answer, and of course we can go to both of y'all. But what was your mindset? I know you had a little bit of experience, at least navigating Tourney X app, Ryan. But for both of you all, obviously you all talk like crazy, pre-tournament talk, trying to figure out what y'all are going to do. Does your thought process and plan change knowing the rules, one, where you can launch at 6 and just motor to your spot and start fishing there? There's no giant rush. Maybe you don't even have to worry about someone technically beating you to your spot. What's the thought process going in? Does the plan change any?
So I'll start here. First off, I had to kind of take the reins on the whole Tourney X app, and had to kind of take the technology side of things. So I downloaded the app. Of course, I already had it and I've used it. So I told Will, tried to explain him how to work it, and he said, "You just handle that part." And I was like, "Okay." So, but yeah, it definitely played into our strategy and our game plan, and we discussed that, and we made our initial decisions, based on the format, and the main thing right off the bat, and you mentioned it, is we made a long idle right at the very beginning of the tournament. Since we put in the water at 6, we made a big long idle, and got to our first spot. And in a shotgun start tournament, we would have never done that. I know Will and I have fished a long time, and we would have never made a decision to make that long idle in a shotgun tournament where time is valuable like that. So that saves you. We have let's just say it was a 20-minute idle. That saves us 20 minutes compared to a regular weigh-in tournament day, to where we don't have to make that run. And plus, a benefit to that is the fact that it's so much safer. I mean, some of these, our bodies of water are small. There's a lot of tight places, and especially Stonewall. Will and I have been in a couple of those situations where you're gunning down the lake in the morning, and you're weaving in and out of turns, hairpin turns. You got boats going 3 wide, getting splashed by people's prop wake, and I mean, it can get dangerous, honestly. And so having the ability to just kind of go out and start wherever you need to start, not have to worry about rushing and running and gunning, it's way safer, and you get more time to fish. So I was a big fan of that, and that was one of the big things we looked at as far as our strategy goes.
Yeah, man. I mean, I 100% agree. That's one thing that I personally have always loved about that kind of formatted tournament is, yes, you do lose a little bit of, I guess you could say you lose just a little bit of the rush from the morning blast off. Because, I mean, I'm not going to lie, that is fun. I mean, that's exciting. They're starting to call boat numbers and everyone's taking off. But that is a huge thing to say, and what it does is, in my opinion, is it really opens up the opportunity to offer up tournament fishing for a lot of different crafts, a john boat, a bass boat. No longer would somebody have to feel intimidated to show up at the ramp in a $10,000 used rig or $1,200 john boat, and they can safely navigate the water to get to their first fishing spot without you're 100% right. 3 wide at Stonewall gets crazy. There's just not enough room for that. But 100% agree. And, of course, then you can fish all the way till 3 o'clock, technically. And I know that came in very valuable for you all. We'll get to that here in just a few minutes. But, Will, the possibilities for a CPR formatted tournament, we kind of chatted a little bit earlier just about some of the possibilities available as far as MLF style, every fish counts. It can be ran any way possible. Man, share your thoughts and opinions on having the opportunity to kind of mix it up on occasion.
Yeah, the CPR tournaments are definitely something that I think will grow. And I like it especially at times of year, like around the spawn, because they can go right back to the beds. And then again in the summer, when everybody's worried about their fish getting too hot and keeping them alive in the live wells and the weigh-in lines and everything like that, being able to just release them right back into the water will really help our fisheries. But, being able to change it to an every fish counts MLF style tournament, that'll really open up some different patterns that you're not seeing in tournaments right now. So, like, I know at Stonewall, I know certain things that you can win tournaments on. There's other patterns that work, but you can't win doing it. So I don't even mess with it. But if you have an every fish counts type of tournament, those patterns are going to start to play.
Oh, I mean, just like we were talking earlier, I 100% agree. It completely changes a person's mindset with a different type of formats available. Completely different, possible formats available for that. So I know that is exciting opportunities there. Before this event, did you all end up pre-fishing any?
Yeah, I've been, since everything's been blown out this spring from the rain, I've been there like every weekend for 3-4 weeks. And then, so I kind of been following the fishes, what they've been doing, where they've been going, and every week they've been more and more pulling up on beds. And then Friday, I had Friday off work, and I went out there in the rain and marked as many as I could, knowing that that cold front might pull a lot of them off. And surprisingly, most of the ones that were locked on beds stayed up there, but they got real finicky. But that was the game plan. going in, just try to catch those betters.
Well, and especially knowing 5 fish, especially having multiple fish marked, knowing that, hey, right here is the winning bag. They're scattered all over, and having those fish marked. Of course, that cold front, like you said, you knew that it was going to affect those fish quite a bit, and it does. I mean, I think a lot of us have experienced that many a times. It doesn't take much when they're really pulling up there trying to do their deal to kind of spook them and slow them down or pull them off or whatever the case may be. So basically, that was kind of my next question. You all going into this event, it sounds like the main plan was to go after these spawning fish.
Yeah, that was the plan, and we ended up tricking 3 of them into biting, but we ended up having to catch 2 random ones to fill out the limit, just because they got so finicky. We could see them, but they just would not bite.
Well, and Ryan, go ahead, Ryan.
We knew it was going to be cold all week. We were looking at the weather, and I was nervous about it, because I kept, talking to Will. I was like, it's going to be 26 degrees, dude. I was like, I don't see, I was like, them fish are, sitting in a foot of water. I was like, I don't know. And even on Friday when he went out and saw him, I was like, well, I guess if they leave, they should still be close. And well, we ended up still, like he said, we found the ones that were locked stayed there. And it was a lot of work to get them. That's for sure.
Well, let me ask both of you all this. Everyone's got a different approach when it comes to fishing for a spawning bass, or fish that are there that you might not be able to really see. Water gets a little murky, there's a fish there. How do you get that fish tricked into biting? I know a lot of people got tons of different tricks and different ways that they can help trigger these fish. Any insight that you all want to share what maybe worked for you, if you're willing to share any of that, or maybe just say a random trick that maybe works for you. We don't have to get into too many details.
I'll just tell you my trick right off the bat. I just let Will do
it. Well, that's fair. I've spent many times in the back of the boat standing there thinking, oh man, this is going to be sweet when I finally watch him catch that. You know what I mean? That's just as fun though. But, man, I'm going to call you out, Will, just a little bit.
All right.
Because I did see, I read all these posts from everybody. So I'm going to call you out, and I heard drop shot. I read drop shot and a buzzbait, which we know both of those will make those fish bite, especially a buzzbait over a shallow spawner. Sometimes they can't help but eat that.
Oh yeah, that's been the bait through all the college tournaments and all of our good tournaments. That's the winning bait. Drop shot or buzzbait, catch them every time.
We might have to take that with a grain of salt. I don't know. He might be stretching that a little bit. Well, I tell you, what I do know, like you all, what you both said was, really we're struggling to get those fish to eat. If you don't know, and let me transition over here to this other view. But if you don't know at home, and if you weren't following along on Tourney X during the tournament, I turned off the results at 2:30, so the public couldn't see what was going on after 2:30. So they had a half hour fishing left, and I promise you they'll fill you in. But guys, y'all weren't even in the top to make a payday that day. Give the folks at home just a quick rundown on what happened in that last really 25 minutes or so to finish up that tournament.
Yeah, I worked on our fourth fish that was on a bed for, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. We finally caught it with about 20 minutes left, and we measured it, idled out of that creek, and I'm like, I don't have time to idle to another bedfish. Like, we got to find one on the main lake somewhere. So I went to a bank. I thought there might be one, and sure enough, with 5 minutes left, Ryan catches it.
Well, so let me give you the little story here. let me set the scene for you. All right. So, like Will said, he was on that fourth fish with about 25 minutes ago, and him and I even had the conversation. We were like, well, we made a good run. I mean, we tried. We're going to come up short because we didn't think we knew we didn't have a chance with 4 fish, but he caught that 4th fish probably 5 minutes after we had that conversation, and there was like 20 minutes, 15 minutes ago or whatever, and like Will said, we were idled out of that pocket, went on the main lake, and earlier in the day, we were fishing a bank. All right. Now, I got to say this because this is one of those times where I kind of had one on Will here. It's rare. It's rare. But I had a crankbait out. And I was throwing a crankbait earlier in the day. And I was throwing it 10, 15 minutes. And I was like, they're just not eating this thing. He's like, Will says, yeah, he's like, I never have luck with a crankbait here. You might as well put that thing down. So I said, all right, I listened to Will. I'll take his advice or whatever. Well, when we idled out of that pocket, and I knew that like we had to have a fish, and it was like, had to make something happen. I reached down, pulled that crankbait out, and started cranking that bank along the main lake, and bumped it off of a stump, and sure enough, there he is, a 14 or 15 inch or whatever it was. And I hooked up to that thing, and both of us were just like, are you serious? We got it in the net, and I said, Will, never throw a crankbait on Stonewall. Never.
Well, and that's the funny thing. And I think we've all had those conversations before, but I think that's just a testament to sometimes you just get that feeling as an angler of, man, this feels right. Especially, there's been many times you put down a bait, man, that's just not right. I just don't feel good about that. You go on down and just something clicks. Hey, this just feels right. You pick up a bait, especially like you said, crankbait, and thump, it loads up on it. And I think that's some of those things definitely are luck at times. We all know that, but a lot of it's instinct. And that'll kind of give a good question I kind of had listening to y'all. For you all, I know everyone's different, but give us an insight on, do you have a set kind of point to where you say, okay, it's not working, it's time to change it up, and how far do you go in a tournament day when things just aren't clicking before you say, hey, we got to go?
It kind of depends on where we're at. Depends on the lake and how much I know about it. But, if something's not working, weather change or something, something changed with these fish, you got to just scrap it and do something else.
Yeah. Like you said, some bodies of water you get into and you just know that, man, they're going to load up here. They're going to move in here. That's going to happen. But, yeah, I think me as an angler, and I know a lot of folks probably time and time again, none of us are perfect. It's the imperfectible sport, that's for sure. We take a lot of butt beatings more than we cash a check, but very humbling. But just to know, hey, something's not right. They change and to move out, and obviously it worked out for you all. Obviously, considering you took the win on Stonewall. Well, where is your mindset, and I'll ask you both, give you both an opportunity to answer, and I know we've hit on it just a little bit. As time goes on and we see stricter guidelines on everything, protecting wildlife and our resources, as it should be, but give each of you, Ryan, I'll start with you, but give me your opinion on where do CPR tournaments go in the future, and just the future of bass fishing in your opinion.
Okay, yeah. So I definitely think the CPR format is here to stay. And Will mentioned it earlier. I think it's going to grow. And the ways I think it's going to grow, I think that the technology's there. I think they're going to improve a little bit on that. With the Dock Talk Open, with you incorporating the live well checks, that was a big step. I think that's a great addition, because we do it in all the regular tournaments. We should be doing it in the CPR tournaments as well. Get guys with live wells, do a check just to make sure, because, and I'll mention it. I mean, it's that elephant in the room. It's like a lot of guys are apprehensive in getting into this stuff just due to the fact that, with taking pictures and putting them on, that and I was the same way before I knew much about it. A lot of the, old time guys have been doing it forever. They think that it's easy to cheat, or, oh, you can cheat doing these CPR. And I'm telling you, the measures that are put in place, with the identifier code, with everybody having the same measuring device, doing the live well checks, having the GPS turned on your phone, having it time stamped, it would make it extremely difficult to cheat. And if someone did that, man, we all think that can never happen, but it does happen. But I really think that, and the kayak guys, to give them credit, because they kind of launched this whole thing. And Shane, you and I talked earlier, the kayak guys, give them a ton of credit, because I hopped in a kayak and realized that it is extremely difficult.
And I 100% agree.
Yeah. So hats off to, all the kayak guys, and I think we owe a little bit to them in bringing this all on board. And I think, moving forward, especially in West Virginia, we have small bodies of water. All of our bodies of water are small, except for the Ohio River, and even the Ohio River, it gets pounded. I mean, pounded. There's tournaments every single weekend on the Ohio. There's tournaments, 2-3 times a night or a week on weeknights. And all those fish are just getting pulled out of their natural habitat. And yes, I know they live, but you got to imagine what kind of impact it has on the fishery. I mean, a fish that gets caught and put in a live well and ran for 30 minutes, or, ran for half a day in a live well, beating around, banging around, then going and getting weighed in, and then just getting thrown back in the water at the ramp. That fish ain't going to bite for, who knows how long. I mean, that fish is messed up. They go through a beating. So, and I'm not saying that we completely abolish weigh-in tournaments. They're obviously exciting, and they probably won't ever go away. But I think, in my opinion, a lot of these, trails and these like week after week tournaments, especially like on the Ohio River and some of these smaller lakes, I feel like we're going to see those go to the CPR format, because it's widespread. It's moving across the country. MLF's adapted this similar, format. And like Will said, it gives you a lot of different options to, as far as, how many you're going to catch, if it's, unlimited, or, 12-inch limit, or 3 fish, or however you want to do it, any kind of combination. But I really think that, if we want to give back to the fisheries we have here in West Virginia, and they're small, they're good fisheries, but they're small, and there's a lot of us, and we put a hammering on them fish. I think it's our responsibility to do everything we can to try and help the fish, so that whenever we go out there, we can have tournaments that are weighing in 15, 16, 17 pounds to win, instead of 5.3 pounds on the Ohio River to win, if we're lucky. So fishing can be extremely tough in this state, and I just think that CPR is just a great way to take care of it. Take care of what we got. We got to step up as anglers and do everything we can to try and help. Giving back in habitat and all that. We can't just use it to try and go win money. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a sportsman type hobby. So we got to do our part too.
Yeah, man. I extremely well said. Extremely well said, and 100% agree with basically everything you said, man. I mean, we've talked enough to know, kind of where each other stand on that, and I that's what I don't want to get confused to anybody. I'm not advocating saying no more weigh-in tournaments. That's not what I'm pushing for at all. I think what Ryan said, 100% agree, that we do have a duty as anglers. Yes, we pay our, if you're not a hunter, you pay your $28 a year to go fish as much as you want, and actually could take a lot of the resource for that $28. We have some of the lowest license fees in the nation compared to other states. And you're 100% right. We have to step up as anglers to do just a little bit more to help protect. There's nothing worse than hearing, and we've all been there. I've been there plenty of times, and say, man, what happened to all these fish? This fishery sucks right now. What is the deal? There's no more fish in here. And then when you really start breaking it down, it's like, okay, well, it's spawn on the river. They've got very limited places to spawn. We just yanked about everyone we could see off there, toted them 30 miles back to the weigh-in. Will that fish still spawn? Possibly, probably. Is that fish hurting? Most likely. That fish is struggling. And we're kind of relying on the scientific evidence that a female would drop her eggs at multiple nest sites. So what if that female didn't drop her eggs at that first nest site yet, and we just yanked her up and she's stunned, and then a flood comes through? We consciously, as anglers, you're 100% right. We do have to look at some further options to expand to help protect our resource. Will, what about you, brother? Since you had to have Ryan work all the technology, and you were obviously just the fisherman in the boat until Ryan saved the day at the end of the day. But give me your take, man.
Yeah, I don't think I can say anything better than what Ryan did. But as far as changing, if clubs and different people with different trails can adopt this format, they probably should try it at least just to see how they like it. But the biggest thing for me would be just trying to figure out how to use the phone right, but use the app. But
and it's a learning experience. And like Ryan said, we do got to give more and all of the credit, in my opinion, to the kayak community. Yes, there's been paper tournaments going on for a long time. Brad West was telling me just earlier today, he said, man, we've operated small club stuff like that for a long time. Will, you said you all did the same thing. Especially small bodies of water. You're seeing Hometown Bass Boys and some of these other trails and clubs. They're doing CPR style tournaments. So we're doing our part. It's starting, but 100% got to agree. I remember it's been 8 years ago. I did the interview with Mountain State Kayak Anglers President Ben Smith, and then it was literally you take a picture. You would have to take your phone up and have each picture verified by a judge. And now with this TourneyX software, and I've seen it go through the beginning stages at the national championship, and then we're talking thousands of fish to be uploaded, and that system was under a huge load to now where, I think I saw there the other weekend over 5,000 fish caught and submitted in like one day for tournaments nationwide on TourneyX. And to know that all 5,000 of those fish, regardless of size, got immediately turned back into the water is something that I would hope most anglers would be proud of to be able to operate a tournament that way.
Absolutely.
Well, guys, I tell you what, I appreciate your all's time. I've had an absolute blast, getting to know you all a little bit better. We're extremely proud to have you all representing West Virginia in all your endeavors, especially at Fairmont State. Of course, that was a few years ago. Now we're all turning into the old dogs now, but extremely appreciate your all's time. Wonderful, wonderful interview breaking down your all's win on Stonewall, and congratulations again to be the first ever winners of the first ever Dock Talk West Virginia Open. Before we go though, let me give you all both an opportunity. Any shout outs that you all would like to throw out there today?
Or Will, shout out anybody? I just want to thank you for putting this on, trying to start something new in West Virginia. And, we got to thank Ridge Runner Rods for donating the rods. It's going to be a pretty sweet trophy. And, JT Custom Jigs, his baits were awesome. I got mine in the mail already. Pretty sweet. And, I got to thank Dobbins Rods for what they've done for me over the years. Check them out. Even if you're a high school kid mowing grass for tackle and stuff like I did, you can get a rod at a lower price point. You don't have to have a $300 rod to catch a fish, but check them out.
Absolutely. And I've got your Instagram handle up there at Wil Dieffenbauch _fishing. Check him out there. Follow along on all his fishing adventures. And, of course, Ryan, any quick shout-out, brother, for anybody?
Yeah, Shane, thanks again for putting this on. Like Will said, Ridge Runner Rods, JT Bates, the guys stepped up big. That was a good incentive for that tournament to strive for. Also, I want to give a shout-out to my other fishing partner, Tommy Colvin. Also, his son had to have a little operation there the other day, so thoughts and prayers out to him. Hope he's doing all right. Little Easton man. We'll see you soon. But I want to give a shout out to my girl Miss Kimmy and her off spec dream shots, and also a big shout out to the late great number 3 Dale Earnhardt. Gone to race in a better place.
There you go.
And my beautiful, lovely wife, Megan. Love you. Thanks for allowing me to fish sometimes. Appreciate it.
I won't call you out, Ron, but you, the Intimidator was in front of the wife. You're in trouble, dude.
Hey, save the best for last, baby.
That's it. Guys, appreciate you all. Like I said, congratulations again on the win. Thanks for your all's time this evening, and we will definitely see you out on the water, guys. Thanks again.
Thank you.
All right, there you go, everybody. That was interview with Ryan Radcliff and Wil Dieffenbauch, your first ever Dock Talk West Virginia Open champions. Wonderful insight they shared. They really covered a lot. If you're just joining, you have to definitely go back and you got to check that out. Wonderful interview. They really showcased everything leading up to really the tournament win. Their history, how they got started fishing, their transition from college fishing to the adult fishing world, and awesome opportunities after the fact. So exciting interview. Thanks again. Everyone at home, thanks for tuning in. Like I said, if you're new here, my name is Shane Raines. I'm the host right here at Dock Talk West Virginia. You can find us on Facebook. Just at Dock Talk WV. That'll pop right up. And also this video, like all others, will be uploaded right up on the YouTube channel, so share it with your friends. Go ahead and share this video. Make sure this gets out to everybody. So give these guys a big congrats on their huge win. Let's stroll through these comments just a couple times. Like I said earlier, Jason Turner stepped up and went ahead and threw a post out there saying that he would give out 6 custom crankbaits, 2 each to the top 3 places. Awesome, man. Thanks again. I want to thank Ridge Runner Rods for all his support. He stepped up big. And also coming up this weekend for the Marshall CPR Super Open. Definitely want to get in on that. He is pretty sure he's working on two more rods. So as soon as I get more information about that, we'll get you some pictures about what you're fishing for. So again, thank all of you for joining with us this evening. And as I always say, we will see you on the water. And Bob, we'll always be thinking about you, brother. Thank you for everything you've done for the fishing community, and you will be beyond greatly missed.